Right, good morning everybody. My name's Jason, and this week I'm going to try and do a video every day on a small topic. So now the small topic obviously is going to be related to autism and ASD, or as I like to refer to it as neurodiversity, because there is no cure for autism, and it's not a disease, it's just a different way of thinking, and my learning curve, as I've said in a lot of my videos, has been exponential in the last few months, and I've joined groups, I've become acquainted with other people, shared my experiences, and I have moments of clarity when my autism and my subconscious and conscious all come together, and I'm able to put something together. So my name's Jason. I am neurodiverse in several ways: autism, dyspraxia, and probably a few other ways. I present no different to anyone else. I have 2 arms, 2 legs. I'm able to hold down a job with some difficulty, but I'm able to do that. I was only recently diagnosed, which doesn't take away the fact that it's still there and has always been there, the neurodiversity that is. I struggled at school, but I'm kind of going off topic there because I don't want to really talk about education, but I can talk about education, and I may talk about education. So the premise of these videos is to hopefully give insight to others about autism so that they can appreciate and understand what neurodiversity is. And for the teachers out there, they'll probably get this. Some of them will anyway. But you may not. I mean, it depends. You should. So, if you imagine a normal brain and you ask it a question and you delve into your memory bank of experience, knowledge, whatever it is, that's what we all do, right? As you know, without going into sort of the complexities of growing up, you know, I was given an analogy that when we're children, we're absorbing lots of it. We've got no experience. So this is knowledge, this is experience, right? As small children growing up, we've got no experience. It's way down here, way down here. But as knowledge, we're learning every day. Massive, massive loads of knowledge, right? Whoa, it's up here. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. No experience. Yep, got me. Right, so the scales of learning are way off, and as you grow up, what happens is this happens. They start to balance. Yeah, so that's what happens. Now, an autistic mind is, let's see, an autistic mind in terms of knowledge can be way up there with no experience, but in the same extent, an autistic mind can be very, very experienced and have very little knowledge. So that conflict is always there. So when you ask an autistic a question on their specialist subject, whoa, knowledge, not always experience. And the reason for that is that sometimes an autistic's knowledge is Marvel characters. How do you experience Marvel characters, right? how do you experience the virtual world? And the reason why they go into the virtual world is because in the virtual world they can be themselves. So there is no, the experience is life as in such, but they'll talk about their knowledge. Wherever it is, their specialist subject, they'll talk about it. They'll talk about it forever and a day because they've got all the knowledge is it's all in there. Every character and whatever, it's all in there. If it's an experience, if it's your favourite cereal, or it's your favourite subject, or no, it's your favourite, favourite game, or an experience. I'm just trying to think of an experience. I can't think of an example, but if you think of something that you wouldn't know a lot about, but you've experienced it. So life in general. So you may be a young teenager, early 20s, you've experienced lots of life, but the knowledge of life may be quite, whatever the word is, I can't think of the word. You just can't think. Exactly, you just can't think. My brain can't think at the minute of the word, the experiences. So you've lived life, but you haven't got a degree in life, if you know what I mean. You've just, whatever. I can't think of it, but if you can, and this is the problem. This is the problem, right? Now, if I'd studied English in its degree form, in its purest form, right, I would have a massive vocabulary of words in my head. So when I was thinking of experience and the lack of, right, the word would be in there, yeah? But I don't have that level of intellect, that level of knowledge. I've got experience of life, I've got 50 years experience of life, right? But when it comes to the English language, I struggled, right? Now, if I've got that knowledge, I'll be able to tap into that knowledge. It's the same thing as I'll be able to tap into that experience, but I can't. So this is the vast chasm, right? I've got all this experience of life, but I lack some knowledge in vocabulary, right? So what I maybe should do is study the dictionary a little bit more. And I do, and occasionally words come to my words like subjugate, that just comes from nowhere. Boom! It's like I don't know. It just happens, right? So I'm kind of drifting off here a little bit, but I'm trying to catch up with the scales. Are you with me? Right. So trying to think and trying to link everything together in this balanced scale, which is like what tends to happen in terms of education, is very difficult. And for the autistic mind, it's even worse because it's kind of like that. And in society, you're not allowed to express yourself in terms of knowledge unless you've experienced it. And you're not allowed to show your experience because you show your lack of knowledge if you've not got the knowledge. But an autistic mind, when it gets a question, answers its own question. It'll answer your question. It'll analyse. Not everyone will, but I kind of think that's how my mind works. So I delve into my massive back catalogue of experience and knowledge, and whatever little knowledge I've got on whatever vast experience, or the other way around, I delve into that, and I use that to come up with an answer. And generally what you see now is the 8.5 minutes that I've been talking. Sometimes it could just be verbal diarrhea, but in there are elements of genius. The problem is, in social society, we aren't allowed that amount of time. You've got to be in, you've got to be out. You've got to be in, you've got to be out. In a conversation, you've got to be in, you've got to be out. Right? It's no good being in for 8.5 minutes. Everyone else has walked off. It's no good being there and think, I've got an answer. I don't know what to say. Society will not give you, and this is ultimately the problem with people with ASD. It's not the problem with us. We don't have the problem. Society does not give us the time, the patience, the nurture, just don't give you the opportunity, because the way that you're taught, you have in lessons at school, you're given an hour's lesson or a half an hour's lesson to absorb something and then to feed back to a teacher. Sometimes that's not going to be enough. In a conversation, and people are asking you questions. In a debate, people are going to be asking you questions. You go into a meeting and people are going to be bouncing ideas off. Now, an autistic person may sit there with a pen and paper and be writing down and thinking, Jim said something at 9 o'clock and it's now 10 o'clock and I'm still coming up with an answer for what Jim said at 9 o'clock. So the rest of that meeting has just gone. It's still kind of absorbed in there in terms of experience or knowledge, whichever one you want to talk about. It's still in there, but what Jim talked about were relevant, and what that autistic person wrote down, or what they were thinking about, or what they were analysing in their brain is just as important, and that needs to be contributed. And what we need to be aware of in terms of the autistic mind is we need to give the autistic mind, the neurodiverse mind, an opportunity to shine. And the way we need to do that is by a different way of educating, not necessarily a different way of thinking, because a different way of thinking is neurodiversity, but we need a different way of educating and accepting it. And that education has to be presented to the neurotypical world, not the neurodiverse. We know we're different, we just can't express it. And if we can express it, we express it too much, and if we can't express it, we don't express it at all, and if we try and express it, we go off on tangents. So there needs to be a mindset change, and a mindset change, changing your mindset is not as easy. It's not like a fart in the wind. Changing your mindset means analysing the whole picture, and it means going away and then coming back with your ideas and saying this needs to be done. And that fundamentally is the main problem. I'm going to go more into depth of this tomorrow, but I've gone on for 12 minutes and I'm aware of that. I've gone off on a bit of a rant, but I think it's relevant. So I'm going to put this one on today, so if it doesn't make sense, then just ignore it. I don't really care. What I needed to do is get it out there. And I'm going to talk more about how my brain works and how I get ideas out. So that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. Catch you later.